And whatever we are dividing by has to be to the first power. So you'll see here I am dividing by x minus 3. The x is to the first power. Synthetic division works the best when the x has a coefficient of 1. It doesn't have to have a coefficient of 1. You can still do synthetic division if it doesn't have a coefficient of 1. It's just a little bit clumsy. Okay? So here's the process. You look at the bottom, it's x minus 3, and you put a upside down division sign on your paper, which is basically a big L with an elongated horizontal part. On the outside of your big L, you put the opposite of what you see on the bottom. The bottom says x minus 3, so you put the opposite, positive 3. You don't have to write the plus. Okay? I'm just showing you that it's the opposite of x minus 3. On the inside of your upside down division sign, you write the coefficients of the variables. Now, your whatever's on the top of your fraction, or the whatever you're dividing, the terms have to be written in descending order. So it has to go, in this case, x to the third, x to the second, x to the first, x to the nothing. If they're all jumbled up, the first thing you have to do is put them in descending order. Okay? And all we're going to do inside is we're going to write the coefficients of those terms. Basically writing the polynomial, but without the variables. So we write 3, negative 1, 2, negative 4. You can see how those match up with what is up here. 3, negative 1, 2, negative 4, 3, negative 1, 2, negative 4. Not opposites, the exact same. This, x minus 3, you write the opposite out here. That's the setup for a synthetic division problem. That does not take any mathematical ability except for taking the opposite of a number. Okay? That's the setup. Here is the process. The first thing you do is you drop that 3 straight down. Our answer is going to occur at the bottom of that division sign. So we're writing our answer right now. We drop that 3 straight down. And now here comes our process that we repeat over and over to generate our answer. We're going to take the outside 3 times 3, and we're going to write it over here. And then to generate our next number on the bottom, we're going to add those two numbers together. Negative 1 plus 9, 8. And then we repeat that process. 3 times 8 is 24. And we add 26. 3 times 26 is 78. And we add. Now, to write our answer, we look at our original problem, which has a degree of 3. We talked about degree earlier. We're going to drop down 1 degree from 3. So now we're thinking degree of 2. And we take those numbers on the bottom and we write a polynomial with those coefficients starting with a degree of 2. So we have 3x squared plus 8x plus 26, and then the last number is your remainder. That is how you do the problem. Let's try again. We have a big mammoth polynomial on top. Doesn't matter how big it is. Doesn't change the level of difficulty except that the problem is longer. And we are going to divide by x plus 4. So we have our massive upside down division sign. What are we going to put on the outside?
X minus 4.
No.
4.
No. Negative 4. The opposite of what you see on the bottom. There's no x. You just put the opposite of the constant from the bottom. On the inside, you're going to write the coefficients of the terms. Make sure they're in descending order. So basically, you're going to write all the numbers you see without the letters. So that's going to be negative 5, negative 21, negative 3, 4, negative 2, 2. One thing to remember, we'll get to an example that talks about this later, but if you're missing a exponent, like here we go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, none. If we went 5, 4, 2, 1, none, like we were missing the x to the third, we would have to put a 0 in there. It's called a ghost term. That's what I call it anyway. And we would have to make sure we had a 0 in there. You can't just skip it. You have to put a 0 in when you're missing an exponent. Okay? All right, so now let's do the process. The 5 we drop straight down. And now here we go. Negative 4 times negative 5 is 20. Add straight down. Negative 4 times negative 1 is 4. Adding straight down. Negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. Add. Negative 4 times 0 is 0. Add. And negative 4 times negative 2 is 8. Add. The last number is going to be the remainder. The other numbers are the coefficients of the answer, starting 1 degree less than the problem. So we're going to start with a degree of 4. And so our answer is negative 5x to the 4th minus 1x to the 3rd, which we don't write the 1, plus 1x squared, we don't write the 1. Then we have a 0x, which we don't have to write that term at all. Anytime you have a 0 coefficient, you don't have to write that term at all. 0x, which we don't write, minus 2, remainder 10. That's the way to write that answer.